watching the ACC on ESPN from the campus of Florida State University and inside the Donald L. Tucker Center, where for the first time this season, the Florida State men's basketball team comes off an NCAA tournament trip and takes center stage tonight against the Thomas University Nighthawks out of the NAIA in a preseason exhibition game. Hi there, everybody. Sean Davison alongside Aria Masudi. And Aria, it would be easy to say this is just an exhibition game. But just ask Barry, who beat Auburn a few days ago. This means a lot to these small schools. But if Thomas is going to beat Florida State, they're going to rely heavily on their go-to guy, their senior guard, Javoris Cooks.
Javoris Cooks, a combo guard that can really put the ball in the basket. The first member in Thomas University history to reach the 1,000-point mark. He's a guy who compared his own game to Damian Lillard. He can get his buckets from the outside. He can get to the rim. He will have to be huge for Thomas to have a chance today.
He comes into this game averaging 18.7 points per game. And from a team that's got 14 upperclassmen to a team that's only returning one starter from a season ago, that would be Terrence Mann, their only returning starter, averaged 8.4 points per game. He's the glue guy for the Seminoles, and he's now their go-to guy as well.
He's a coach's son. His mom coaches at Rhode Island for the women's basketball team, and he plays like it. He's a guy that does everything correctly. He's worked on his three-point shot this season. He hopes that takes his game to the next level for Florida State.
So a very experienced Thomas University team led by Javoris Cooks and a younger Florida State team, a youth movement, if you will, for Leonard Hamilton and company, led by Terrence Mann. We'll go ahead and take a look at the starting lineups for both of these squads. And Javoris Cooks, DJ Rulak, Janelle Guinea, Keon Peoples, and Willie Holloway for the Nighthawks. It's going to be Phil Koper, CJ Walker, Ike Ubiagu, Terrence Mann, and Chris Kumaji.
For Florida State, the Seminoles are going with the actual lineup, which is Phil Koper, CJ Walker, PJ Savoy, Terrence Mann, and Chris Kumaji. This is a Seminole lineup that will not have Trent Forrest in today's game. He will be one of the main guys for the year. He's got a bone bruise, but for the Seminoles, it's a team that's got a blend of young guys and a team of guys who have played a season ago. Most of these guys are part of the Boom Squad from a year ago, Sean. PJ Savoy, a sharpshooter, shot 40% from three. He's improved his game this year. Terrence Mann has done a heck of a job for Florida State over the offseason working on his three-point shot. The story of the offseason so far has been Florida State working on its perimeter game and on its free throws. They're hoping that takes their game to the next level.
So, as we get set to go, Brent Cruz, the head coach for Thomas University in his third season in Thomasville, was an assistant head coach at the University of San Francisco and also played for Florida Atlantic from 2005 to 2007. Excited about the season with an experienced roster, and on the other side, Leonard Hamilton back with the Seminoles, trying to get them back to another NCAA tournament, and we're underway in Tallahassee. Seminoles control the opening tip, and it'll be CJ Walker, the point guard out of Indianapolis, getting things going for the Seminoles. Terrence Mann pulls up from the key and knocks it down, an early three for Florida State. This is something that Leonard Hamilton preseason or even pre-exhibition season was saying this was something he liked about the team. They were shooting the ball well in practice, and they'll really be able to, if they can keep that going, spread the court and open things up inside for their bigs.
Last season, Florida State really one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the ACC. They think they have 6 or 7 guys that can hit the three ball, including that man that you just saw hit a three from Terrence Mann. He's worked on that all off season. Should take his game to the next level.
Puts up another three, and instead it's an alley-oop to Chris Kumaji. And that is something Chris Kumaji likes.
We talked to him yesterday, and he just said, throw it up. I'm 7'4". If you throw it up and I don't go get it, that's my fault.
There's a little jump in that alley-oop to Chris Kumaji. It looked like a little shot. And now, how about that intensity from C.J. Walker? Knocking the ball away and off the foot of Keon Peoples.
When you have a guy 7'4", it's not really hard. Just throw it up there. Thomas University is going to be overmatched in this one tonight. Kumaji could have a big game.
PJ Savoy goes down and a foul called against the Nighthawks.
And there you see DJ Rulak, 6-foot senior out of Cottondale, Florida. Talking to Coach Cruz, he said that this is a guy that when he plays well, our team usually wins. He's a guy that does all the little things right. A senior, this is a veteran team, as you mentioned, Sean. 14 juniors and seniors that have been with Coach Cruz for at least 3 years.
It'll be Keon Peoples. And now inside, big block from Kumaji. Rulak there to recover and set things up once again. And now here's Peoples. Peoples drives inside, and another block from Chris Kumaji. That'll be Florida State basketball. And Aria, you talked with him yesterday, and he mentioned how important timing is to come up with some of those blocks. He's come up with 2 already.
Kumaji's worked on this offseason not biting on pump fakes. He's worked on just keeping his ground, keeping his arms high. And quite honestly, Thomas University hasn't seen a player this tall ever, really. So it's going to be a big game for Kumaji.
Turnover there for Willie Holloway. Strips CJ Walker. And now it's Jakari Bush driving inside. Big game for Thomas University. They brought 3 buses down from Thomasville, about 45 minutes to the north of Tallahassee. A little scramble for the ball here.
Great
and a
hustle
tie
there
up
from both teams, Sean.
It'll remain Thomas University basketball.
The young program Thomas University is. They restarted basketball just 5 years ago. They brought Coach Cruz on just 3 seasons ago, and they're working their way back up. Last season had a 14-10 year. He's excited about his team's chances coming up this season in his conference.
Here's DeVoris Cooks.
I don't think he got that off.
He didn't. So it'll be another possession to Florida State. And then to send it in is Phil Kofer.
There is Coach Cruz. 3rd season at Thomas. Played at f.s.u. in the mid-2000s. He's no stranger to D1 basketball.
CJ Walker sent a pass in hot to PJ Savoy. He couldn't handle it. It'll be another Florida State turnover. Checking in for Thomas University is Jalen Bonds, and he'll replace Willie Holloway. Bonds, the junior out of Watkinsville, Georgia, averaging 5 points and 3 rebounds per game.
Thomas University from right up the road in Thomasville, Georgia. About a 45-minute or so drive from Florida State's campus.
Bush drives inside, kicks it out. And Thomas still looking for the first points on the board. Here's DeVoris Cooks now. Over to Bonds. Foul called against CJ Walker.
An emphasis in college basketball over the last few seasons has been trying to limit the contact. Whistles are more common. Any little touch now can grab the whistle of a ref. They're trying to make the game flow a little bit faster. Try and get more points on the board.
Bush driving inside, now kicking it out to Cooks. And a little misconnect there, and Chris Kumaji comes away with it. Now here's PJ Savoy. He was the sharpshooter for the Seminoles last year, and there's another alley-oop to Chris Kumaji.
That's going to be there all game for Kumaji.
Bonds in and out, and Kumaji with the board.
A Nighthawks team that really likes to shoot the 3 ball. They shoot it over 40% as a team. It's a good-looking group from deep. As you see Kumaji again, hot start here.
Count the bucket and the foul. He'll go to the free throw line. He was 5 for 6 in Florida State's first exhibition game of the season against Central Missouri.
And Kumaji told us he's been working on his all-around game inside the post. He's always had a penchant for that nice little hook shot, but he's worked on his right and left hand. He's worked on getting a little bit stronger. He's always been agile. And Florida State, when they get to ACC play, they're going to go up against some really good bigs, from UNC, from Duke. The bigs at Miami will give some teams trouble. So Kumaji is going to be a key for the Seminoles this season.
I think I might have jinxed him there by throwing out the 5 for 6 from the free throw line, but one of the things that you see some of those big guys struggle with when they're at the free throw line is getting some arc on those free throws, something that we've seen a little bit more of from Kumaji so far. 3, no good. And still, Cooks and the Nighthawks cannot get themselves on the board. Here's MJ Walker on the drive now, sends it out to Brian Angola. Kabengele from the wing, no good. And back come the Nighthawks. The drive inside, the underneath layup. John L. Guinea. And those 3 buses of fans make their presence known for Thomas University.
There's at least 100 or so fans wearing green and black. Talking to Coach Cruz, this was a big game for his program, a chance for a lot of guys to come back and play in front of their hometown. 4 guys from Tallahassee. A good start here for the Seminoles.
Welcome back to Tallahassee, where if you love your Seminoles and you love America too, you might as well put on your most handy morph suit and come on down to the Donald L. Tucker Center and watch some exhibition basketball. Some spirited Americans and Seminole fans in the house here tonight, and 3 buses full of spirited Thomas University fans excited that their team on the board and within 7 out of our first timeout and our first break here at Florida State, up 9-2 over Thomas University.
And Brent Cruz talked about how the program has already reached such a strong fan base in the first few years that it's come back. They were a powerhouse in the 90s. And Thomas University has slowly started to put the money into that administration, into the basketball facilities, helping this program really reunite and reboot.
On the latest bucket for Florida State was Ike Obiagu, the freshman center out of Nigeria.
Obiagu is a top 50 recruit coming out of high school. His defense is much further along than his offensive game, but for Florida State, that's all you're going to need from him this year. Had some pretty big-time offers.
Takeaway for the Seminoles. Brian Angola comes back the other way, puts it up, and gets it to go.
Great athleticism there by Angola. A candidate to maybe be the leading scorer on this year's team.
Brian Angola, his offense came around late last season, but he picked up 17 points in the ACC semifinal against Notre Dame. Seminoles would go on to lose that one, and Javoris Cooks mishandles the ball, and it'll be another Florida State possession here. But he's somebody that the Seminoles look to see if they can get him going. Now Brandon Allen will check out. Not often that you had a guy that played in the minor league system playing for your basketball team, but that is exactly the case for Florida State and Brandon Allen, and he sends it in to Brian Angola.
Just got to look at Big Albert Goss, 6'11", 350 pounds. They're going to put him in just to match up a little bit better with Obiagu.
And nearly won that matchup against Obiagu. Obiagu gets it back off the hands of Allen.
There's a mismatch there.
And now the turnaround jumper from Angola, no good.
Great defense by Hezekiah Goodwin. Much smaller than Brian Angola.
So here's Cooks. On Angola, drives inside, and draws contact.
Javaris Cooks, second leading scorer this season for the Nighthawks. Talked to him a little bit before the game. He was amped to play in this game. Fun fact, though, Florida State had a baseball star by the name of Taylor Walls this past season. Played a little bit of high school ball with Javaris Cooks at Crisp County. Both were on the same team in Cordele, Georgia.
Another big block. This time it's Obiagu. He'll send it out of play, however, and it will remain Nighthawk basketball. Hezekiah Goodwin had it blocked by Obiagu.
Obiagu had 3 blocks in his first exhibition game. When they went out to Jamaica, he had 7 blocks in a game out there against the Jamaican national select team. He's going to be an instant impact player on the defensive end for Florida State this year. Physically mature and ready for the high D1 level.
Not much there for the Nighthawks. Kabengele sends it in. Can't get it to go.
Oh, my goodness. We almost had SportsCenter's top 10 in the first 10 minutes of this basketball game. They call him Fee. Has worked harder than anyone on this roster in getting himself ready for this level of basketball.
He'll earn a couple of free throws, and he'll make the first one to make it 14-2.
That will be your most improved player by the end of the year, I promise you that.
He's lost 20 pounds since their trip to Jamaica to try to help improve his versatility. He's a guy that Seminoles believe can play the 4 or the 3.
Has great pedigree in his family line, the nephew of Dikembe Mutombo.
And speaking of Dikembe Mutombo, that is a guy that Obiagu's game is said to be similar to. Nighthawks trying to get back on the board and still nothing much doing. This time it's Gerard Blunt.
Good look there for Blunt. Unlucky that it didn't go down.
MJ Walker from the baseline for 3, no good. Allen with the rebound, and he'll kick it back out to Walker. Walker penetrates, sends it out to Allen. Draws some contact underneath. There'll be a foul called against Thomas.
Early on for Florida State, they're shooting 67% from the floor, 6 of 9. More importantly, though, and something Leonard will like a lot more, is holding Thomas to 1 of 9 from the field, just 11% from the Nighthawks.
Jay Walker tried to feed it to Obiagu. Instead, it'll be the Nighthawks who try to come back the other way and push the pace. Blunt has it blocked, but the follow is good.
Ivan Tomic out of Belgrade, Serbia. Great follow-up there. Talking to Coach Cruz. He said in games like this, you really don't look at the scoreline. You look at the way your team plays. Do they believe in each other? Do they fight for each other? Scrappy play there from Tomic.
MJ Walker penetrating from the wing, sends it into Kevin Geely.
Good look there by the freshman. Freshman to redshirt freshman action.
Another big block from Obiagu. I believe that's the 4th we've seen combined between him and Kumaji. Walker gets the roll.
And right now, I believe Thomas is just a little overwhelmed by the speed and athleticism that they're facing. Anything at the rim is going to be challenged by Florida State's length. And at the other end, the Seminoles have so much athleticism. MJ Walker, a McDonald's All-American, flashing some ability.
Little bump there from Kevin Geely. He'll be called for the foul.
Got a hockey line change coming in for Florida State.
Raekwon Gray will check in, as will Chris Kumaji. Anthony Polite and Terrence Mann comes back into the lineup, as does Wyatt Wiltz. Deion Peoples. Nice drive, but still no good. Good defense from Polite. Terrence Mann sends it over to Kumaji. Now the Seminoles will try to swing it. Here's Wilkes from the wing. No good.
Great box out there from Goss. Used all 350 pounds. If you're Thomas, you got to start getting some ball movement.
Great job there by Kumaji. Seminoles trying to manufacture a couple of points there.
I think Mann got hit on the wrist as he went up for the follow dunk.
So Terrence Mann fouled with a 20-4 lead. We'll be back to Tallahassee. The Seminoles up by 16. Welcome back to Tallahassee, where I mentioned at the top of the show, tried telling Thomas University that this is just an exhibition game. The emotions already starting to run high. And there you see a shove from Albert Goss to Terrence Mann.
Big fella's not putting up with it tonight.
It's a good opportunity on a big stage for this team to take on a D1 opponent, and hey, intensity runs high.
I don't mind it. Hoops is almost back. Just a week away. Thomas University already 3 games in. Florida State kicks it off next Tuesday. Basketball's better when there's an edge. Looks like we also had a whistle, maybe a little technical foul action.
Looks like it, probably on that little shove, so it'll be Terrence Mann to shoot the technical foul. Up 18-4 now, make that 19.
Something Florida State's really worked on all offseason. It's a point of emphasis for the team is better overall free throw shooting percentages. And that's a good sign for Florida State, 2 for 2 from Terrence Mann, a guy who struggled at times from the free throw stripe a season ago.
And now from the returning starter, the sole returning starter from last season, to a fresh face. Here is Anthony Polite knocking down his first free throw here.
I'm not sure why maybe 2 technical fouls were called. Rare to see 2 guys back-to-back get free throws.
He'll split the pair, and it'll be Wyatt Wilkes to send it in.
Didn't get an explanation from the refs, but my best guess is that was 2 technical fouls called on Thomas University.
Here's Polite from Switzerland, now sending it out to Wilkes. Gray on the drive, and he'll kick it out to a wide open man from the wing, knocks it down.
That's a good sign if you're Florida State and Terrence Mann. If he's improved that facet of his game, he can score from all 3 levels. It's a guy who could easily average double-figure scoring this season for the Noles.
Javoris Cooks guarded by Anthony Polite. And now here's Keon Peoples. Send it all the way over to Cooks. And he'll wind up short. Wilkes wins the battle for the rebound, up ahead to Polite. Someone will try to swing it. That was knocked out of play. A little delayed discussion. It should remain, I believe, Florida State basketball. Jonell Guinea checks back into the lineup.
Leads the team 20 points a game on the year for the Nighthawks.
There's that little hook from Kumaji, just short. Now here's Guinea. Peoples will pull up and get them all.
Big shot there from Keon Peoples. 5'11" junior out of Memphis, Tennessee. Leads the team this year in assists. Averages 8 a game. Something the Nighthawks do very well is shoot it from beyond the arc.
Here's Gray, gets the roll, and there's a couple for Florida State.
And I think Seminole fans will really like Raekwon Gray. Once he gets his body into shape, he can be a big-time contributor for this team.
His game is often compared to that of Draymond Green's.
Has great vision in the open court, can handle it as you see him bringing it up the court right here. Big-bodied guy. Will be a nice player for the Seminoles.
Now shooting from beyond the arc and getting them all.
And there's the Draymond Green reference that you just mentioned. A big body with so many skills, including hitting it from beyond the arc.
He played on the same AAU team as Anthony Polite, both of which are now in the lineup for Florida State. Here's Guinea for 3. No good, man with the rebound. 29-7, Florida State. Sean Davison, Ari Masudi as Wyatt Wilkes just doesn't quite get the roll to make it 32-7 for Florida State.
And you're seeing for Florida State, part of their offensive game plan is to get the ball out of their hands quickly. You want shots. You want as many possessions in a game as you can possibly get.
Count the bucket and the foul against Wyatt Wilkes, and it'll be an and one for Janelle Guinea.
Strong move here by Guinea, grabbing the loose ball, has the strength to muscle up Wyatt Wilkes and finish through contact and one.
So Guinea heads to the line to make it 29-10. And gets it to go.
Him and Cooks make up that two-headed monster for the Nighthawks, both averaging over 18 points a game. Really been a dynamite 1-2 punch.
CJ Walker will check in, as will Phil Kofer, as Kumaji and Mann check out.
And you're seeing it from Thomas University right now. The first 5 minutes of the game really overwhelmed them. I think the size and athleticism of Florida State kind of shocked them, but they're trying to work their way back into the game and start running some of their offensive sets and show what they can do.
MJ Walker also checks in for the Seminoles. And now Kofer on the drive, offensive foul.
A little aggressive there from Phil Kofer. Anytime you lean your shoulder down into the chest of an opposing defender, and you see it right there, he leans into the body of Guinea.
Timeout called on the floor, and the Seminoles with that 29-10 lead. So the Seminoles continue a good three-point shooting performance in exhibition play, and they ride it to a 19-point lead. Welcome back to Tallahassee, where the Florida State men's basketball team leads 29-10 over the visiting Thomas University Nighthawks out of the NAIA in an exhibition game prior to the start of the Seminoles regular season, in which they'll open up against the George Washington Colonels here in Tallahassee. Back underway, Sean Davidson alongside Aria Masudi. The two teams separated by 45 minutes. And Thomas University trying to ride a little wave of momentum. It took them a while to get on the board. Now they've strung together a few points. Good defensive effort as well, picking up an offensive foul, but a little miscue there on the pass from Cooks to Rulak.
Right now, if you're Florida State, I think you're pleased with the effort the Seminoles are giving in this game. Easy to overlook the opponent in an exhibition game, so what you look for is energy, want to, and I think Florida State's showing that so far, especially on the defensive end.
Kevin Gilly sends it back to C.J. Walker, the second left-handed point guard in Florida State history. It's Kofer who pulls up for three. And over the back, I believe, is Kevin Gilly, so it'll be Nighthawk basketball.
Thomas dropped into a 2-3 zone on that possession. Try to give Florida State a different look. Kofer had an open look from three. They call the Seminoles for over the back.
So that foul will send Eric Johnson to the line. The eighth foul against the Seminoles as a team, and he'll make the front end of the 1-and-1.
It's a big opportunity here for Johnson. Only plays about 8 minutes a game in the 3 games that the Hawks have played so far this season that have counted. Was just a 62.5% free throw shooter, so a good sign.
Cooper gives it up to Angola. And now Walker pulls up from three from the wing. Got them all.
There's another guy who's really worked hard this offseason on his outside touch. Born in Anchorage, Alaska, moved to Indianapolis when he was 3 years old. The state of Indiana, basketball is a different animal out there. And he picked Florida State over the likes of Purdue and Butler and Wichita State. Had flashes of brilliance last season for the Seminoles, a fearless player for his size. Cleaning up some of the turnover issues, adjusting to the speed of play of the ACC. I think C.J. Walker's in store for a big season for the Noles.
Walker now driving inside, puts it up and gets it to go.
To my point
the
exactly.
Bucket and the foul.
To my point exactly, he's fearless. just 6 foot, and that's generous. Probably stands 5'10", 5'11" without shoes on, but he's fearless. He'll go right into the stomach of a defender, does a good job drawing contact, and the strength, the upper body strength to finish through that contact. And one for C.J. Walker.
You mentioned how he's from Indiana, Indianapolis to be specific. Played behind Trey Lyles in high school for a couple of years. Lyles now a forward for the Utah Jazz. Played at Kentucky. And now here's CJ making his mark here at Florida State. Three ball, still no good. Not much luck besides the three from Peoples for the Nighthawks.
I think he stepped out of bounds. Looks like he indeed did. Ball will go towards Florida State.
(35-12) Florida State with just over 6 minutes left before the half. Kick out to Angola. Got him. The three party continues for Florida State. Now it's Brian Angola knocking down a baseline three. It's 38-12 Florida State.
Changed his name from Brian Angola to Brian Angola from Brian Angola Rodas to just Brian Angola for this season.
Call him what you want. He's still making those threes. Big block for Cobbin Gillian. Pretty physical matchup here so far between these two teams, and a foul against the Nighthawks.
Great block on the other end for Florida State, and then a little high there with the elbow.
So John Elgini picks up a foul, and that'll send MJ Walker to the line to shoot some free throws.
But more on Angola. His name last year, of course, Brian Angola Rodas, honoring both his father and his mother's last names. His father passed away recently, and so him and his mother decided to honor just his father's name. And so he's just Angola this season for the Noles.
Great story on Brian Angola. And to me, he's also, it's a testament to what a lot of these players, and their families, they sacrifice just so their kids can play basketball. Don't count the bucket on that there for MJ Walker and the connection there for Florida State. He'll go to the free throw line, but I mean, this is a guy who's hardly been home in the last 7 years. He came up here to play basketball, and now he's playing at the D1 level. I was reading an article that said his sisters to this day still get emotional when they talk about him and how they enjoy watching him on TV.
It's a guy who didn't have any offers out of high school. He came to the United States, spoke very little English while he played at Findlay Prep, a big-time basketball product school out in Nevada. He played for Columbia this summer in the FIBA AmeriCup and led the team in scoring, almost 13 points a game, had a few highlight reel plays. Told me he brought back a lot of confidence from that tournament playing with professionals. Coming to Florida State, where last year he showed flashes of big-time scoring ability, can really shoot it from deep. This season he's looking to put it all together, put that package together, and really give Florida State an opportunity at a leading scorer.
Kevin Gilly jumped in there to collect the rebound off of another missed MJ Walker free throw. Jumped in there a little bit too soon, so he picks up a foul. And it'll be back the other way for the Nighthawks, and it'll be Ivan Tomic to shoot a couple.
MJ Walker 0 of 3 from the line already.
4 for 5 in their first exhibition game, so not a promising start, at least from the free throw line for Walker. But a guy that the Seminole fans and Seminole Athletic Department are excited to see here in Tallahassee. Another really good recruit to come through here at Florida State.
Another McDonald's All-American for the Seminoles.
5th one for Leonard Hamilton, the 12th in the history of the program. Tomic makes that free throw to make it even tighter game, 38-14. Nice little friendly roll there for the Seminoles and Obiagu. Make it 40-14.
Obiagu not known for having much of an offensive game. Back to the basket, though, a nice little hook shot.
Another good steal there from Phil Kofer, but Polite can't handle the pass and knocks it through and out of play.
MJ Walker, a guy for Florida State, more on him. You've had guys like Beasley and Bacon and Isaac freshmen that have come through this program that have made immediate impacts upon their arrival. I'm not sure MJ Walker is in that mold of immediate impact freshman where he'll score 15 or 16 points a game, but he is next in line, I think, of the next Seminole star when he has the whole package. Can shoot it from three. His body's physically mature for the D1 level already. He's a willing defender. I think he's going to be a nice player for the Noles.
Great play there from the Seminoles and a good feed into P.J. Savoy. As you mentioned, MJ Walker, he checks out, so the likes of Savoy can check in. Count the bucket and the foul. Hezekiah Goodwin, and the bank is open.
Love the emotion there from Goodwin after he converts the and one. Don't leave your feet if you're polite. Goodwin gets him to jump, leans into him through the contact, almost Dwayne Wade-esque there.
And he'll make the free throw to make it 42-17 Florida State. Here's Kofer. Off the mark, gets it back, and finishes. Kofer, a guy who had a pretty good freshman campaign, had a couple of ankle injuries, and just quite hasn't seemed to be the same since when he's come back for Florida State, but another year, perhaps a little bit healthier, and seeing a little bit more intensity out of Phil Kofer too. Good intensity there from Jakari Bush trying to strip Angola, but he'll knock it out of play. We're going to go ahead and take a timeout, immediate timeout, but Florida State leads 44-19. They're quenching any run for an upset. Florida State leading 44-19 over the Thomas University Nighthawks here in Tallahassee. Just under 4 minutes left before the half. And a big reason why they've got such a large lead, they've made 6 out of their last 7 field goal attempts. Terrence Mann leading the way scoring-wise for the Seminoles with 8 total points so far here this evening. Wyatt Wilkes sends it in to Anthony Polite. A couple of fresh faces on a relatively young roster for Florida State. Here's Ike Obiagu, and gets it to go. Nice little layup for Obiagu to extend it 46-19.
Any offensive game you see from Obiagu is a plus if you're the Seminoles.
Thomas actually out-rebounding the Seminoles, but also turning it over at a far higher clip. Here's Wilkes. He'll send it into Polite, and Polite knocks down the mid-range jumper.
Nice mid-range jumper there from Polite. He's another guy, as he gets comfortable in this Florida State system, he has a wide array of skills. Big guard, 6'6".
Here's Bush, and he'll have it blocked and recovered by Obiagu. That's Obiagu's 3rd block here today. Now here's Polite coming back the other way. Out to Allen from the baseline. 3 more.
What a story Brandon Allen is. Played baseball for the San Francisco Giants in their minor league system. Came to Florida State after that didn't work out. His father played at Florida State. He's a guy who has a sweet stroke from beyond the arc.
So a great look here from Brandon Allen. And splash, 3 more.
His brother Adam Allen played at UF and was also a three-point specialist. Brandon actually told me when he pitched, he was a fastball, changeup, slider guy. Could reach 92 on the mound.
P.J. Savoy from the wing. A little deep. And how about that effort from Allen? He'll come back the other way, and there's a couple more for Allen and the Seminoles.
His teammates are dying of laughter. It looked like he was about to have a dunk about 80% of the way up. In that last 20%, he realized he didn't have it. Just laid it in.
Keon People is driving inside now, sending it out to Goodwin. Goodwin makes the three-pointer. The second three-pointer goes for the Nighthawks.
I love Hezekiah Goodwin's game. His team's down by over 30, but you wouldn't know it. Playing with so much energy, so much passion. He's motioning for his teammates to pick it up. This game for Thomas is not about result. That happens less than 5% of the time when a major D1 team takes on a team like Thomas from such a small conference and such a small division. You're looking for building blocks if you're Thomas. Are we playing together? Do we care? Can we flash some ability to say, hey, when we go back to where we play, we could be a force to be reckoned with?
Anthony Polite knocks down that free throw.
And Sean, a lot of times this is as good as it's going to get for some of the Thomas players. On this level, playing in front of this crowd, on this floor, 4 players from Thomas played high school ball in Tallahassee. They're playing in front of their family and friends, a big opportunity to get to play on the court you probably dreamed of playing on as a kid.
In fact, when we were talking with Coach Cruz the other day, he said this was the game that a lot of them had circled on the schedule, the day that they were really looking forward to from the time this game was announced. Another great defensive effort from Brandon Allen, picking up a steal, now coming back the other way. So Brandon Allen turning on the defensive intensity. Now here's Obiagu sending it back out to Allen from the wing, and now back inside to Obiagu. The turnaround jumper, no good. And now the Nighthawks will try to come back the other way.
The beautiful two-man game, though, there from Florida State. Allen to Obiagu, working on some chemistry.
That rim's just not been friendly for the Nighthawks. Janelle Guinea has it roll straight across, doesn't pick up a couple more. And on the other side, that's been the story for the Seminoles. Aside from shooting about 50% from beyond the arc, just about everything else has been going as well. P.J. Savoy picks up a couple more.
And P.J. Savoy getting buckets at the rim. He attempted 88% of his shots last season from beyond the arc.
A 13-3 run for Florida State. And an offensive foul called against the Nighthawks.
P.J. Savoy has an incredible story of his own. Had no offers in junior college his sophomore year. He had to find a home, so he drove over 12 hours from Wyoming to Kansas to play in a tournament where coaches could watch him. Made the top 100 camp of that tournament. Got a couple of offers a few days later. Dennis Gates gave him a call, and at that point he said, I kind of knew where I wanted to go. Selected the Noles over UNLV, Texas Tech, among others.
Wyatt Wilkes just off the mark. Gray tried to follow it, and now he's trying to come up with the steal, and he will. That junkyard dog defense that's been the staple for Leonard Hamilton teams, that was something he was looking to see from this group.
And you see the Draymond Green reference. You see the attitude, the willingness to do and impact every level of the game. Raekwon Gray, once he gets into shape, once he gets his body ready for ACC play, this guy's future is so bright.
Cooks beats the press, and a foul underneath called against the Seminoles. It'll benefit Willie Holloway. One of those Tallahassee kids will make his way to the free throw line.
Willie Holloway out of Godby High School. 6'7" player. This was a big game for him coming back home. Led the team coming in for Thomas with 5 blocks on the season.
.67 junior makes the first free throw. Just under 30 seconds left here in the half. Seminoles lead 59-23. Holloway trying to make it 59-24. Instead, it will remain a 59-23 lead, and the Seminoles can hang on to this final possession of the half.
You want to see Florida State move the ball here and work on a good offensive possession. It doesn't matter what the score is. Work on your end-of-game situation.
Obiagu sets the screen for Polite. Pull-up three off the mark. Followed from Obiagu, no good. And Holloway guides it out of play, and it'll be 59-23 at the half. And the Seminoles with a big lead here as they head into the locker room. And we'll be back to Tallahassee on the ACC Network Extra. Welcome back to Tallahassee, where the homestanding Seminoles lead the Thomas University Nighthawks 59-23 in this preseason exhibition for Florida State. Hi there, everybody. Sean Davison alongside Ari Masudi. And Ari, we talked at the top of the show about all that Florida State has lost coming into the season. Dwayne Bacon, gone. Jonathan Isaac, gone.
Right.
you talk about all the different players that are now in the NBA for Florida State, and Terrence Mann is the only the returner that's come back. But, I mean, look at all these guys that were starters last year that are now playing professional ball.
You got a first-round pick and a second-round pick who's a starter for Charlotte right now. XRM had a shot to make the roster for the Knicks, got cut last second, but he's going to find a home in the D-League there for them. Michael Ojo playing overseas in Serbia. You lost a lot of firepower. I mean, last season Florida State had one of the best years it's had in quite some time, and it's because of really those four players. Dwayne Bacon and Jonathan Isaac are two of the best talents the Seminoles have ever had. But that transition of this year for Florida State, you can't slow down. You can't just sulk and hope things get better. You recruit, you get a top 15 class, and that's what Leonard Hamilton did.
As you mentioned, Leonard Hamilton picking up a top 15 class this season. And here are some of the new recruits. This is the 5th consecutive top 15 recruiting class here in Tallahassee, headlined, of course, by M.J. Walker, the 12th McDonald's All-American in FSU history. But you got the 4th-ranked center in Obiagu, the 5th-ranked power forward in Waycron Gray, the 6th overall player in Florida in Wyatt Wilkes, and then Anthony Polite, who was the small school player of the year in Palm Beach County. In
this class, you got a little bit of everything. You got the star and M.J. Walker. The Seminoles were so fortunate. That recruitment took forever. I mean, Walker committed and signed in late spring. And then Obiagu, top 50 player, picked Florida State over the likes of Arizona and Florida. Raekwon Gray, a guy who you saw in the first half, has such a wide array of skills. And then Wyatt Wilkes and Anthony Polite are two guys that I think over a course of a few seasons can give Florida State some really solid play in the ACC.
So plenty to look forward to for Florida State fans, and we will look forward to coming back and taking a look at the first half highlights on the ACC Network Extra. 59-23, the homestanding Seminoles over Thomas University here in the second of 2 exhibition games in the Donald L. Tucker Center. Hi, everybody. Sean Davison alongside Aria Masudi. And Aria, before we take a look at the highlights, a few numbers that jumped out at me. Florida State shooting 63% from the floor, 40% from beyond the arc, and they've forced 19 turnovers while only giving up 2 threes. If you can combine that in the regular season, that's a recipe for success for Florida State, regardless of who they play.
You're absolutely right, and Florida State didn't turn the ball over much in that first half. They did a good job of getting buckets in transition, led by their defense. You see early on here, Terrence Mann to Kumaji, throw it up to the big fella, he'll bring it down.
And coming back the other way, Beyondu Kavangili has been active on both sides of the floor. Didn't quite work out great in his favor there, but that works out all right for the big fella with the dunk. It took a while for Peoples and the Nighthawks to knock down their first 3. They've made a couple. And again, that defensive intensity from Florida State, the Nighthawks finding a way to follow up okay. But then the 3 party started. Angola knocking down a 3 from the baseline. And how about Brandon Allen heating up before the half as well?
Yeah.
So the Noles heat up from beyond the arc and on the floor, and they lead 59-23. We'll be back to Tallahassee in a moment. Back here at Tallahassee, where Florida State leads Thomas University 59-23 as we approach the end of halftime here at the Donald L. Tucker Center. Go ahead and take a look at the upcoming schedules for both of these teams. We'll start with the visiting Nighthawks of Thomas University. The Nighthawks have Faulkner and Talladega. They'll be at Kaiser and Johnson and Wills, and then at that Berry team that knocked off Auburn.
An interesting schedule coming up for Thomas, and this is a team under Cruz that finished under 500 2 seasons ago. Last year they turned things around, finished at 14-10, and this season you see that they're already 3 games into their schedule, so they've kind of worked out a few of the kinks on their team, but they're hoping to win their conference this season. An opportunity against the Seminoles can help them really tune things up.
And on the other side, Florida State opens up their regular season against George Washington, Fordham, Colorado State, Kennesaw State, and the Citadel. A few games out there in Jamaica.
Yeah, Florida State spent 12 days actually, in Jamaica. They got their foreign preseason trip this year, funded by Nike. They get to go back to Jamaica when they take on Fordham, an opportunity for a marquee win against Colorado State at a neutral site. And then that George Washington game to kick things off. The Noles went up to the Verizon Center last year and played George Washington in D.C.
And how important is it for Florida State to get off to a good start in non-conference play? Because when you look at where they start ACC play, it starts on December 30th at Duke. Number 1 preseason Duke. The number 9 North Carolina comes to town. Number 12, Miami on the road. And then number 16, Louisville comes to town. And oh, by the way, after Louisville, then you got Syracuse. So a tough 5-game opening stretch in the ACC. But for Florida State, you want to take advantage of some of these opportunities in non-conference, don't you?
You really do, and as tough as the ACC is, if you can go 10-2, 11-1 in your non-conference slate, once you get to the ACC, 9-9, a 500 record. Now that they've gone to 18 games, a 500 record may get you in with as deep as the ACC is. And so the Seminoles, the goal is to make the NCAA tournament, and Leonard Hamilton has kind of shaped his non-conference schedule this season to kind of let his team build their way into some tough games. Not mentioned on there was a tough game at Florida that they'll play. They'll play Oklahoma State in that classic, the Orange Bowl Classic down in Sunrise. So there are opportunities for marquee wins. But in this specific non-conference schedule, I don't think there are as many non-conference opportunities, as many marquee win opportunities. So when the Seminoles do get those chances, they have to capitalize and come away with at least one, maybe two victories.
So I mentioned a few of the stats from the first half. What jumps out at you the most when you consider what Florida State's done? You know, this is still technically a basketball game, but again, this is also an exhibition game against a smaller school. So some things you might be able to carry over better than others.
I think when you look at the first half box score, you got to throw out certain things. Florida State should shoot 64% from the floor against a team that doesn't have much size. The Seminoles should be able to create turnovers and get into the fast break against an overmatched opponent. So you look at free throws. The Seminoles didn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line, only 7 of 13. But a positive is a 10 assist to 6 turnover ratio, so you want to see that plus-minus in the positive section for the Noles.
Nice block there for the Nighthawks, but it's Obiagu who spins and scores. So 61-23, Florida State.
And I think you just asked, you don't really care too much about what the team does in exhibitions. I think those stats get overblown in games like this. You want to see player development and flashes of what certain players can do, especially newcomers. And Obiagu has already shown maybe he has a little bit more of an offensive game than we gave him credit for coming in.
Offensive foul.
Things like that you look for in an exhibition game. Are players willing to sacrifice their bodies in just an exhibition? This game means nothing.
Great job there by MJ Walker.
And you see MJ Walker, a freshman who's not afraid of contact. Ironically, MJ Walker, had he decided to play football, would have been a monster recruit in football. Had offers as a freshman and a sophomore in high school. Had offers from the likes of Michigan and Clemson and Miami. You give this guy quit. Football, his junior year of high school, he was a free safety and a wide receiver, and he was already 6'4" as a sophomore in high school.
And he's also been named to the Jerry West Award watch list as one of the top 20 shooting guards in the nation by the Naismith Hall of Fame. So some early hype and a jam for Kabengele.
Great aggression there from Fee, getting to the rim easily. Great help defense there from Angola. Great help defense, Sean.
Walker sends it in to Obiagu. As it's knocked away by the Nighthawks, is there to collect it. Now out to Allen from the wing. Allen for 3 more, and he's got him.
One of the purest strokes on the team. Brandon Allen has earned the trust of his coaches over the last few seasons. He's a strong defender within the system Florida State likes to run. And he's not a guy that's going to ride the bench much this season. He'll play, he'll get minutes on this Florida State team.
People sends it off the side of the backboard, and now here's Walker. Seminoles trying to push the pace a little bit. And now here's Angola pulling up for 3, in and out. And that could very well be going back to the Seminoles. I'm not entirely sure. It looked like Janelle Guinea was falling out of bounds. I'm not sure where his foot was. And indeed, it will be a turnover back to Florida State. Allen on the drive, lays it up. Can't get it to go, but Obiagu is there to clean it up, and he's fouled on the way up by Willie Holloway.
Sheer strength for Mikey Obiagu. Comes into this game listed at 7 foot, 240 pounds, and I'd buy it. That's 240 pounds of chiseled muscle.
0 for 1 from the free throw line in his first exhibition appearance for the Seminoles.
Him and Stan Jones have been working nonstop on that free throw stroke. And you saw it there. That was all one hand. It's an aspect of his game that he's going to have to work on, especially if he gets fouled a lot down in the post.
Still empty at the free throw line. 0 for 2 today, 0 for 1 in that first exhibition. Janelle Guinea underneath and 1.
Coach Cruz called Guinea one of his strongest pound-for-pound players. Look at the strength there. Draws the foul on Obiagu. Heads to the line for an and one opportunity. Give Guinea credit for sealing his man underneath. Made the layup attempt a lot easier for himself.
And on a night in which DeVoris Cooks has yet to crack the scoreboard, every point matters from Janelle Guinea. Kabengele, the kick to Angola. And Obiagu had a chance, but was fouled by Holloway. He'll still go to the line to shoot a couple more.
Obiagu had bad intentions on that dunk attempt. Holloway did the right thing and fouled him. Make the big man earn his 2 free throws. Hasn't shown that he has the ability right now or the touch from the free throw stripe. And Holloway did a nice job not getting posterized.
Obiagu picked Florida State over Baylor, Florida, Maryland, Arizona, Butler, NC State, Georgia Tech, and Long Beach State. And now he connects on his first free throw.
When you shoot the ball, you're not really supposed to use your left hand to shoot. It's just a guide hand. So it looks like Obiagu's more comfortable using just that one right hand to guide his form and his follow-through. 2 for 2, Sean.
And there you have it. Kick ball there. It looks like it will remain with the Nighthawks.
Look, man, you saw the Barry kid from Florida last year underhand toss every single one of his free throws, but if you hit it, it's only funny if you don't make it.
I was going to say, it's only weird if it doesn't work. So here's Jakari Bush. Up ahead to Guinea, underneath, and he's got it again.
Guinea going to work in the low post right now, feeding some confidence. 4 straight points for Janelle Guinea.
With those 4 straight points, Janelle Guinea breaks into the double-digit barrier. He's got 10. Nice hustle by Jakari Bush to collect the loose ball. Deep 3 goes back to Bush. Now here's Bonds.
Nice sequence here for the Nighthawks. Not quitting despite being down 38. Coach Cruz has to be happy with what he's seeing over the last 2 minutes.
Might be a little shuffle there. And indeed, Obiagu called for the travel.
That was an interesting lineup for Florida State. They're having Obiagu, Kabengele, and Brandon Allen. Not sure that's a rotation that Florida State's going to use much of during the season, but you find out what works in these exhibition games.
Someone will bring a little press. Now wide open look. Bush can't get it to go.
Jakari Bush out of Rickards High School right here in Tallahassee.
CJ Walker sends it into Cofer, tries to discard his defender and falls out of play. Foul called against Jalen Bonds.
Nice move by Cofer. A quick spin to the rim and the feet got tangled up. Don't know if that's in the act of shooting or not. I think it might be just on the floor. Indeed it will be.
Speaking of guys who played a little football, Phil Cofer was a tight end in high school, so another Seminole basketball player that's played a little football too. Man can't get the follow. And now the Nighthawks Try to come back the other way. How about this little run?
Gotta love it.
Phil Kofer, mid-range J, fouled as he shot. He'll go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. So while he gets ready to go to the free throw line, Florida State up 68-31, and we'll take a break on the ACC Network Extra. Thomas on a little run here in Tallahassee. Back here in Tallahassee, Florida State up 68-32 on Thomas University. But it's Florida State who hasn't picked up a field goal in nearly the last 3 minutes, while Thomas University is on a 6-0 run over the last minute and a half. They're shooting 57% from the floor, and this is what you've got to like if you're Coach Cruz, Aria.
That little 6-0 run never hurts anybody's feelings if you're Thomas University. You got to love the effort. That's what you look for. Again, this is a game for Thomas to find out what they can do against a high major team from the ACC, and I think in spurts they've really shown a lot of heart and grit.
Koper splits the pair and nearly gets tripped up there with Jakari Bush. It's 69-32, Florida State. DJ Rulak on the drive. I think he stepped out of bounds, and indeed he did. It'll be Florida State basketball.
For the Nighthawks, one of the best players in program history, Javaris Cooks, still scoreless in this one, 0 of 3 from the floor. Has 6 turnovers, not the best game for him. This was a big opportunity for him to show what he can do. He's a star in his conference, and it's a really good opportunity against an ACC team, and not having the best game, I'm sure he's a little disappointed so far.
Nighthawks dialed up the press, Seminoles beat it, and Kofer picked up a couple and another nice bucket for the Nighthawks.
There's Jakari Bush, nifty floater in the lane.
71-34, Florida State. Kofer thought about it, will pull it, and get them all.
Phil Kofer showing he's extended his range a little bit. That's a jump shot he's worked on over the last 2 years. Known as primarily a hustle guy, an energy guy. If he can add that to his game consistently, I think he can help Florida State a lot this year.
A little over 14 minutes left in the game, and a nice drive by Jakari Bush.
Rickard's High zone, Jakari Bush putting on a little bit of a mini show here for his friends and family in attendance.
Terrence Mann on the drive with the floater. Kumaji collects it off the mark and puts it back in.
And Sean, a 7'4 center just went up against a 5'10 point guard. I think that's a 99% success rate for the center.
Off the glass.
How about Goodwin coming back, though? He heard what I had to say. Said, I'm not afraid of you, big fella.
How about the grit from Bush and Goodwin?
I like this Goodwin kid. I'll be honest with you. He's a really, really nice player.
A little misconnect there on the alley-oop up to Kumaji, and he puts it back.
Don't have to go very far, does Kumaji, to touch that rim.
Goodwin on the drive. Fouled on the way in.
Yeah, look, Goodwin one did no part of that one. 3 Thomas players are just walking away as Kumaji has the ball all alone under the basket.
Just discarded Ivan Tomic, and that'll be Goodwin who goes to the line on the other end to cut into this 40-point lead for the Seminoles. Gets the roll on the front end.
9 points for Goodwin, looking to join John L. Guinea in the double-digit club for this one. 10 points for Guinea, 9 for Goodwin.
He'll have to wait a little bit if he's going to join that double-digit club. Walker coming back the other way. Walker keeps it. Draws some contact with Goodwin underneath.
I'm telling you, I really like this Goodwin kid. He's feisty little player. And in a game when you're down 40, it's easy to lose interest. If you're Thomas, you can get run out of the gym. But I'll tell you what, they haven't embarrassed themselves today. They've played with a lot of heart and a lot of grit, a lot of togetherness. I think they've given the couple hundred fans or so that have come to see them from Thomasville something to cheer about.
C.J. Walker, 655 shooter from the free throw line last season, but made 4 of 5 in the first exhibition game. No good there. They'll make the second one, though, and it'll be a 40-point lead once again for the Seminoles. Jared Blunt keeps it and has it blocked.
Great timing on the jump from Kumaji. He baited his man in, invited the lane, and then once there was no point of return, Kumaji sends that into the stands.
Tomic has it blocked away by Kumaji. I believe he got his right hand up there and deflected it out of play there. Walker. Now here's Savoy from the wing and back to Walker. Three ball.
You don't want Phil Kofer falling in love with that shot if you're Florida State.
Offensive foul called against Eric Johnson.
Easy call there for the ref. C.J. Walker getting underneath the man outside of that circle, sets his feet, plants them both firmly, and takes the charge. 5 substitutions for Florida State, another line change.
Gray, Polite, M.J. Walker, Wilkes.
Here you go. 4 true freshmen and a redshirt freshman into the game for Florida State. An opportunity for Leonard Hamilton to see what he's got.
M.J. Walker on the drive, draws contact, and he'll go to the free throw line.
And here's what I love most about M.J. Walker. A freshman who comes into the college game has no hesitancy in his game at all. It's not a guy that's going to second-guess himself. He plays downhill. He goes towards the rim. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. And there will be games this year for Florida State where M.J. Walker is going to shoot too many times, and you're going to say maybe he shouldn't have, but you want that confidence level from a freshman. I'd rather have a guy who thinks he's better than he is than have a guy who's too scared for the moment. I think M.J. Walker is a player that played big-time high school basketball, highly recruited, a McDonald's All-American. He plays with an alpha dog personality, and that can only serve you well, especially in a program where you've had guys like Beasley, Bacon, Isaac, guys who have come in and really asserted themselves from day one. M.J. Walker is in that form himself.
He'll want to definitely pick things up from the free throw line despite making that one there. But it's 80-39 in favor of the Seminoles. Tomic.
Another block.
It's been a bit of a block party on the defensive end for Florida State. Now here's Gray kicking it out to Polite. Polite over everything. Keon Peoples sends it up ahead. Swift, short.
Nothing but net.
Walker.
Exactly what I told you. He's not afraid to let it fly. He's supremely confident in his abilities. As he refines his game and as he adjusts to the ACC level, M.J. Walker is going to be a superstar for Florida State. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the next big NBA player that the Seminoles get drafted.
Eric Johnson gives it up to Peoples. Now back to Johnson. Gray just swats it out of his hands. It'll remain with the Nighthawks. How about that? Just stealing that ball away and sending it out of play is Gray. And there's a timeout on the floor. Florida State up 83-39. And the Seminoles continue a hot shooting and good defensive night. They rolling over Thomas University. Back underway here in Tallahassee. Eric Johnson nearly losing the handle, and now on the drive, he'll put it up. And he can't quite get it to go before that shot clock.
That foul was called. Yep, I believe it's on MJ Walker.
So Johnson doesn't get it to go, but he does draw contact with MJ Walker. And now Johnson will make his way to the free throw line.
A little confusion here by the officials.
Johnson only shot one of the two free throws. Everybody started to play as if he attempted both, and now he's made both. 83-41 FSU.
The first time we've seen a little bit of pressure in the backcourt here from Thomas. Coach Cruz had told us in a conversation we had with him that their team is a full court press team, but we haven't seen that here today. Looks like they tried to attempt it there, though, on that last one.
Gray swings it over to Wilkes. Wilkes driving down the baseline, sends it out to MJ Walker. Now they swing it back to Wilkes, and he'll put it up and one.
You see the bench react there. Wyatt Wilkes, one of the favorites in the locker room. He's a guy who comes in for Florida State. A heady player. High basketball IQ, can shoot it from three. Has great touch from the mid-range game and has above average athleticism. Really adds a different element to a Florida State team from what they've had in years past.
He connects on the end one. It's 86-41 Florida State.
A little pressure from Florida State now on the trap.
B. And now Polite nearly connected for the and one himself. He'll make a trip to the free throw line and shoot a couple.
So you see Florida State running a bit of pressure in the full court here. Leads to a turnover. An easy opportunity in transition. 24 turnovers forced by the Seminoles here this afternoon, and we still have a little over 10 minutes left to play.
Polite, one of those legacy players that comes back to the program. His father played for Florida State and then played professional basketball over in Switzerland. That's why he's listed as being from Switzerland. While he was there, he played soccer for 4 years. He was a striker and a midfielder. Gets back his own miss now. Shows some athleticism on the court as well. Now here's Walker on the drive. Can't get it to go.
Excellent take there from Walker, though. Hangs in the air, just can't finish.
Johnson through two Seminoles, and there is Guinea to follow.
I like Guinea's game a lot. Does a lot around the basket. Can stretch it out and hit it from beyond the arc. He's a great player in their conference.
Gray, pull up. Banks open.
You got to call it, but we'll let this one slide. They all count in the box score, Sean.
And in that box score right now, it'll show that Florida State up 90-43, and a travel by Thomas.
Florida State, you see emotion from Wyatt Wilkes on that last turnover. The Noles are up nearly 50. But an opportunity for a lot of these young guys to show Coach Hamilton and this staff that they can be counted on, that these are guys that care and want to buy into what the Seminoles are preaching this year. You want to get into that rotation and get minutes, you got to show it here in the limited opportunities that you've gotten.
Swift got a hand in there. Contact underneath between Wilkes and Jakari Bush.
Foul's going to be called on Bush. didn't quite see the play cleanly. So I don't know if he got his feet set or not. The officials don't think so, and Wilkes will head to the line for 2.
Wilkes with 5 points so far tonight, trying to add a couple more. They'll add 1. Primary mode of transportation around campus, at least as Bio says, is skateboard. Now, I'll tell you something, Ari. There's some pretty steep hills on this campus. If he can skateboard uphill, consider me impressed.
I'm with you.
Bush looking up top, knocked away by Polite. Walker coming back the other way, sends it up. Now out to Gray. Baseline, in and out.
What a great look there from Fee, kicking it out to Raekwon Gray. Active hands, though, by Gray. Right back to Kabengale.
Kabengale pull up mid-range, tried to bank it off the glass. Wilkes gets it and is fouled. So Wilkes will go back to the free throw line to shoot a couple more. Wilkes out of Orlando. His uncle Rob was an FSU assistant from 2000 to 2002. His father, Glenn, is in his 32nd season as the Rollins women's basketball head coach, and his grandfather was the head coach at Stetson. So basketball in the Wilkes family blood, and Wyatt splits the pair.
His dad's a legend down in Tampa, in that Rollins area. He's won a lot of games for that college.
Kari Bush working inside and out of play.
I'll tell you what, right now, Thomas has 27 turnovers, turning the ball over on nearly 41% of their possessions.
That ball knocked out by Florida State, and it'll be Goodwin to send it in. Jalen Bonds. Bonds picked up a few nice buckets so far. Scrappy play underneath, and it'll be Kabengale who comes away with it. Now Walker turns it over, and it's Swift who's looking to push the pace and come back the other way. Swift keeps it and has it blocked by Kabengale.
Wow. Incredible block there.
A 50-point lead for Florida State, 93-43. And the man they call Fee is flying on both ends of the court.
And with that block, the Seminoles now have double digits today, the 10th block of the game for the Noles. Kabengale has 4 himself.
Walker connects from the free throw line, so a little bit more success now from the free throw line for MJ Walker.
And you look down this box score right now for Florida State, and you got Obiagu at 10, Kumaji at 10, Terrence Mann at 8, Raekwon Gray at 8, Brandon Allen at 8, Wyatt Wilkes at 8, CJ Walker at 7, Phil Kofer at 8. Everybody within that 7 to 10 point range. And that's going to be the theme of this season, I think, for the Noles. It's not going to be any one guy scoring 20 a night. You're going to have to do it by committee. It's a Florida State team, Sean, that buys into what Leonard's teaching them. They really like being around each other, and they work hard day in and day out. They have some of the biggest battles at practice, and you want to see that from a competitive team. It's going to serve them well once they get into ACC play, especially.
And Jay Walker, after making both of those free throws, joins the club with 8 points. Now Jalen Bonds. In and out for Hezekiah Goodwin. And now Brandon Allen comes back the other way. Kofer. Baseline jumper.
Nice touch there from Kofer, mid-range game.
Tomic penetrates inside and shuffles. But to your point, Aria, We'll pick up that point a little bit later as these teams call a timeout, and we'll take a timeout with them. Florida State leads 97-43 here in Tallahassee. 97-43 Florida State, a 54-point edge with 7:46 left in this final exhibition game for the Seminoles out of the ACC. 13 Seminoles have checked into this game. Everybody that has checked in has played at least 9 minutes. Everybody for the Seminoles have scored. Great effort there from Tomic, knocking away the pass into Phil Kofer. Now Tomic coming back the other way. And now C.J. Walker picks up a steal. Up ahead to M.J. Walker. Walker to Walker!
There's the athleticism, Sean, that has been praised since the day he arrived on campus. Trent Forrest called him a freak athlete. Terrence Mann said this guy gets buckets.
Brandon Allen picking up a steal. Up ahead, and he almost puts it away. Everybody on their feet for Brandon Allen.
I think we know why he laid the ball up the last time he had his opportunity.
That ball rolled out of play from Hezekiah Goodwin. And if you're M.J. Walker, holy cow, welcome to Tallahassee.
Oh, my.
It was the best, and you know, the tale of two cities goes, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And when it comes to Florida State and the dunks, that's the best of times. And I thought we were going to take a look at the worst of times. Maybe we're better off not showing it, but...
Thought you were talking Tale of Two Cities, the song by J. Cole.
Good try, good effort if you're Brandon Allen. 99-43 Florida State. There you go, Brandon. Johnson bumped by C.J. Walker. He'll go down. I believe a foul will be called against C.J. Indeed, it will. So Johnson will probably go to the free throw line.
As this game kind of loses its form, I think you're going to see a lot of fast break opportunities. And poor Brandon Allen, he did everything right except finishing. He did everything right.
Well, he did everything right here too, and this time...
Yeah, but he doesn't care about the bank shot. My man had a highlight reel opportunity.
Well, he's in the double-digit club.
Brandon Allen's going to be talking about the missed dunks tonight, though. I promise you, so will his teammates.
Mid-range J, off the mark.
Let me put it this way. I'm jealous he can get that high, so I'd like for him to finish when he can get that high.
C.J. Walker sends it into Obiagu. Obiagu will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. Nearly got the and one.
You can see a lot of open play as this last 6 minutes or so winds down. I'm not sure how interested either team is in continuing to run its sets. Expect it to be back and forth. Fast pace up and down in transition.
4 for 5 from the floor. 10 points on the night. Trying to figure things out from the free throw line. He's got a lot of figuring out to do, if that's any indication. Off the front end of the rim, so he goes 0 for 2 on this trip. And now Johnson coming back the other way. Johnson with the kick, and a short jumper there from Blunt. PJ Savoy. Tough night for him, but how about that hustle from Gray? 103-43, the lead now 60 for Florida State.
The Nighthawks came into the game shooting 46% from behind the arc. Nice shot there. Only 2 of 12, though, in this ball game, Sean.
Jared Blunt knocking down the mid-range jumper. It's now 103-45 Florida State.
The three-point shot is such a neutralizer when talent is so mismatched like it is today. And not that Thomas had the greatest of chances of pulling this one off. Those upsets are rare. But if they had any shot, you can't go 2 of 12 from 3 and hope to stay in a ball game.
Lead now back up to 60. P.J. Savoy drives inside. He's got 6 tonight. Still not much luck from beyond or near that perimeter for Thomas. This time it's Jeffrey Swift coming up empty. Gray inside to Obiagu, lays it up and in.
How about Ike Obiagu? 12 points tonight, 5 rebounds, and a couple of blocks. Check that, 6 rebounds on the night, too. If you get 12 and 6 from Obiagu, I think you'll take that if you're Florida State, especially since his forte is on the defensive end.
Man, chasing Johnson off that three-point attempt. Now from the other side, here's Swift, in and out. Blunt picks up the offensive rebound, has it blocked by Obiagu. And a foul called, so you can discount that second block attempt from Obiagu. It is a 62-point lead, however, for Florida State when we come back to Tallahassee. Welcome back to Tallahassee. It's a 60-point lead for Florida State, up 107-47 on the visiting Thomas University Nighthawks. At the line is Forrest Freeland, the redshirt senior, local kid who went to Childs High School. Can't connect on the free throw. A fresh lineup for Florida State. This is Justin Lindner. Lindner guarded by Eric Johnson, and Lindner will go to the free throw line.
Lindner, 6'1" sophomore out of Memphis, Tennessee. Multi-sport athlete in high school. Played some tennis, played some soccer. And my kind of guy.
And he enjoys juggling and singing in his spare time.
It's always fun to see these guys get on the score sheet. They put in just as many hours. They work just as hard as those guys on scholarship, and they get none of the credit. And so their teammates freak out every time they get an opportunity to put points on the board. And I guarantee you those are 2 points that he'll never forget that he scored in a Seminole uniform.
Came to FSU last year, was on the scout team, now part of the roster for the Seminoles. Also in Travis Light and Will Miles, as well as Angola and Kavangali. So after he picks up a couple of free throws, Lindner now called for the foul, and it'll be a couple coming for Rulak.
And as this game winds down, Sean, I think if you're Florida State, you've learned a couple of things about your team in the exhibition, the 2 exhibitions that you've played. The team strength is going to be in its depth. This is a Florida State team that is very deep, once again, can play 10, 11 guys if they need to. Another thing I think you'll notice is that the three-point shooting is definitely going to be better this season than it was a year ago. Florida State ranked near the bottom of the ACC in three-point percentage and three-pointers made. Last year, you only had one guy that could really stretch a defense, and that was P.J. Savoy. Angola at times, Bacon at times. But there are more threats on this team. Really stretches a defense out, and with as many athletes Florida State's roster has, it'll open up driving lanes.
Travis Light just off the mark, but a rebound for Angola. Lindner fires away and picks up 3.
5 points for the sophomore. These guys, after practice every single day, have three-point competitions. It's not surprising that some of the guys on the court win those competitions very often.
Angola comes back the other way, up ahead to Kavangali. He'll pull it back out and settle things down. Now here's Angola, setting up Light from the baseline. 3 more!
Like I said, Travis Light, one of the best pure shooters on the team. Sean, Florida State plays a lot of 2K basketball with video games. They have a lot of competitions, and I've asked multiple players who told me Travis Light is the best video gamer on the team. If they could draft any one guy, it would be Travis Light.
I believe they also threw out Phil Kofer's name, but when it came to dancing, post the Jamaica trip, apparently Phil Kofer is very multi-talented because he's supposedly the best dancer on the team as well.
There are many ways to earn your respect in a locker room. I promise you, if you beat the rest of your teammates in 2K, you can smack talk as much as you want throughout the season. 'Cause that's a neutralizer. Video games, we would know, Sean. That's a neutralizer. You can't out-physical me in a video game.
No. NBA 2K is the highlight of my basketball career, I can tell you that much.
I'm 6'6" in a video game.
So it'll be Lindner. Travel called against the Seminoles, I believe against Gray, so it'll go back the Nighthawks' way. The Nighthawks sent nobody out there. Now it'll be Jeffrey Swift who heads back to send the ball in to Bush. You got to think you got to try to crack that 50-point barrier if you're Thomas. You're sitting at 49. Maybe Swift can pick up 3. Not quite. Gray coming back the other way, finds that running lane and lays it in. 117 to 49.
I really like this guy's game. I really like his game. We've compared him to Draymond Green multiple times tonight. You can see that skill set. Nifty enough to get to the rim. Great vision. Ability to shoot it. Raekwon Gray has a bright future in Tallahassee.
Breland just short as Wyatt Wilkes checks back into the Florida State lineup. Now Gray coming back the other way. Kicks it out to Lindner. Lindner thought about it for a second. Now he'll penetrate and kick it out to Wilkes. Collision underneath.
Glad to see they're both okay. Linder's feeling himself. He's got a couple free throws. Hit a shot from deep. You know fans dig the deep ball. People love the three-point shot. Now he's getting aggressive, taking it to the rim.
Making all these free throws. He's going to have one heck of a box score tonight. He gets back his own miss. How about that effort?
We're on double-digit watch for Linder. Another three-point shot will give him 10. You can see the smile. Love to see the smile on the guy's face. Like I said, they work so hard. In all seriousness, Sean, these guys work so hard. And for much of the year, they basically are cheerleaders for the team. So when they get an opportunity to play, they make the most of it. And don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Those guys on the bench that are scholarship players love when these guys get an opportunity.
Bush can't connect from the free throw line. Down inside the final minute. 120 to 49, Florida State. How about Miles? Miles over the rim. Knocked out of play by Swift.
Now everybody in the gym standing up, hoping Miles gets on the score sheet as well.
Miles, the only player in the lineup that has not done so for Florida State.
In a lot of ways, walk-ons are like the backup quarterback. Everybody loves them. Every fan loves when these guys get an opportunity.
Miles couldn't handle the pass, but it's recovered by Wilkes. Now Lindner feeds Miles. Baseline J. How about it?
And a roar from the Tucker Center crowd. Everybody who's played has scored this afternoon.
Thomas still trying to crack that 50 barrier. About a 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Here's Ezekiel Goodwin. Now Swift. Bush inside out to Swift from the wing. How about that one? It's about time they knocked down their third three of the game. They would have loved to see a whole bunch more. And now Lindner will run the clock out With just 3 seconds left to play, it'll be a 122-52 victory for the Seminoles in their second exhibition game.
2 exhibitions done for the Seminoles. The season starts next Tuesday against George Washington. I think Leonard Hamilton has himself a team that can do some damage in the ACC. This is a squad that really has the ability to make some movement, an under-the-radar team that has a lot of weapons, a lot of different ways it can hurt you. And I think Florida State fans are going to be excited to see what they offer this year.
So they lost a few stars, but they still have that depth. And for Aria Masudi, I'm Sean Davison saying so long from Tallahassee, where Florida State wins 122-52. All games airing on the ESPN networks or streaming live on the ESPN app. To watch this entire game on replay as well as others on our family of networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night, everybody, from Tallahassee.